How's it going?
All right. How are you?
All right.
All good.
I'll let you know in a minute.
Yes. Good. Okay, we're good to go. So, I'm joined here on the red carpet, the New Safe Spaces red carpet, with Dave Rubin. So, Dave, Phelim McAleer from the Ann and Phelim Scoop. Why were you in this movie?
Why was I in this movie? Well, there seems to be a little bit of a bravery deficit in this country, and if you're one of what unfortunately is a few people seemingly willing to say what you think, not be bigoted or racist or anything like that, but just say what you think in these strange political times, there really is a value in that right now. And all I started doing a couple of years ago was talking about my political evolution. You know, I was a lefty, I was a progressive. I started seeing some problems with collectivism, with labeling everyone a racist and a bigot and all of those things. I started talking about it, and then next thing I knew, holy cow, there were a lot of people that were thinking something very similar. So it's kind of interesting for me whenever I come to something like this, because I'm usually around a bunch of lifetime conservatives. And then I come in and it's like, oh, he was one of them. But I think all of us, to different degrees, we're trying to solve this problem. We all do it a little bit differently. You know, some of us are a little more forwardly combative. I like talking it out with different people, hearing what they have to say. But we have to solve this bravery deficit. We need people to realize we live in the freest country in the history of the world. The freest country in the history of the world. How could you be afraid to say what you think?
Do you ever find yourself, I mean, it seems to be getting worse, do you ever find yourself self-censoring?
Rarely these days, but I suppose we all do at some level, right? I think that one of the big things right now is I think people are politically closeted. I think that the labels politically closeted. Yes. I think people are afraid of saying whatever their political beliefs are. Now, that usually means that you're somewhere on the right. You're either a conservative or a libertarian or a classical liberal, and you're afraid of saying, I'm not a woke lefty, basically, because you don't want the mob, you don't want the outrage machine and that amorphous monster that is Twitter to come take out your job or go for your family or dox you or the rest of it. And the only way we defeat that is if we defeat it together. We need more and more people saying we're not going to play by these rules anymore. This is a made-up game, and we got to stop playing it. And I think if we stop playing it and stand up, stop being afraid to stand up for yourself. Really, freest country in the history of the world. We're afraid to say.
How do you stand up practically? When you say stand up, you know, let's say someone was the victim of a Twitter mob now for saying something they didn't mean.
Well, first off, never apologize if it's not worthy of an apology. You know, I think what happens is a lot of times you tweet an off-color joke, or they find something you said 6 years ago, or some nonsense like that. And you know, we all have pasts. You know, part of what's happening right now on the left is that they don't believe in forgiveness. You know, we've all made mistakes. We've all said stupid things. We've all done stupid things. We're all going to go ahead in the future and still do stupid things. But they think that once, you know, they can put that scarlet letter on you, that you better bow forever or they're going to destroy you. And what we see consistently is every time someone apologizes, it doesn't win you any credit with them.
No.
Now they know that they've just got the boot on you and you have to stay there forever. So only apologize if you truly, if it's meaningful to you, then you apologize. But don't fake apologize, and don't apologize because you think it's going to buy you time. Because it won't. Because it'll buy you time, but that time that it's going to buy you, it's going to keep getting shorter and shorter. So stand up for what you believe in. If you right now are someone that's, you have whatever your personal considerations are, whatever, support some of the people that are in this film, whatever that means. You know, you show up to their events or whatever it is, and just stop being afraid. That's all it is. Fear, man. That's it.
You know, someone said that Twitter's job is to bayonet the wounded.
Twitter, I don't know what Twitter's job is anymore. I mean, it's becoming something that I think years from now, you know, they'll do mass psychological surveys and they'll go, somehow a group of seemingly functional human beings were wasting all day on there fighting like children with all these people. And believe me, I say this with all due irony. I do it sometimes too. And I find generally we're our worst selves up there. I try not to do it on the weekends. And I've been trying, you know, I always try. I don't always succeed, but I try to talk about ideas rather than people. And that's all you can do is just, we're all walking around with the world in our pocket right now, right? And it's like, we don't know what this thing's doing to us. So try to treat it with a little bit of respect and a little bit of curiosity, and maybe we can fix some of this stuff.
And what do you think is going to come out of this movie? I mean, how do you think it's going to help or change or what?
My hope is that we're not preaching to the choir. I hope we are able to reach some new people, not just, say, the conservatives or libertarians or even the classical liberals that understand what we're talking about related to speech. My hope is that we can maybe get some of the lefties that are trying to wake up right now. I know how hard that is to transition out of that. And I don't want to make it just a left or right issue. If there are people on the right that for whatever reason feel like they can't say what they think, And it doesn't mean just be awful all the time and be horrible and disrespectful. But I really don't think that's how most people are. I think most people are decent. I think most people are thrilled to live in a country of 320 million people where we have all of these different ideas. It's such a wonderful place, and we have to just remember that instead of just trying to destroy each other all the time.
But do you think it's getting better or worse, or you know?
It's still, I would say it's still getting worse, but underneath that layer is this, and that's a beautiful thing. So we shouldn't get too lost in just, oh, it feels bad all the time. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that. It's been a pleasure, and good luck.
Great. Go on,
Thank you.
Hey,